Good day everyone, so we are here in the land of the rising sun with Xingqiu. So I'm going to make a two-part video responding to two comments on my YouTube channel. So this is going to be part one, the fundamentals of Xingqiu. So what is all of this really about? Well, let's quickly give you a bit of context. I made a video which says Xingqiu is dead, fight me, and someone actually went and said, look, I'm just going to put this straight right at the top here, and bear in mind AR60 day 2 player here, by the way. This video is utterly trash for one reason: lack of research. I urge everyone to go and prove me wrong, and right here at the bottom it says please prove me wrong. So the person quotes and gives a lot of little stats here, and you'll also notice that in some of the other comments this person keeps on spamming comments, and I warned them, hey, if you keep on spamming, I'm gonna have to remove it because you're breaking the TOS on the channel when you clicked yes to comment. But in any case, so let's read what this person has to say. There's a lot of nonsense here, so let us see what the actual fundamentals are with Xingqiu. So this person says, you've clearly never used him or paid attention to his kit at all. That is incredibly funny because if you look at my videos, I've got 900 videos, and yes, there are videos here with Xingqiu builds and me actively using him over the last 2 years. So right off the bat, that's just absolute nonsense. But the next piece here is incredibly funny. With 2-piece Nims and 2-piece Heart of Dead and Hydro Goblet, you've got 126.6 Hydro damage bonus. By the way, I've got 39k HP total with a sack sword. And I'm just like, when I read what this person said, it's like they're making up such like nonsense. So I've got a Xingqiu here with a sack sword, I've got the 2-piece Heart of Dead, 2-piece Nymph, I've got the Hydro damage goblet. So you can see here 46% plus 30 plus, of course, don't forget the talent here, 20% is equal to 96% as the game says. So unfortunately the 126% is just a myth, that it does not exist. So I'm very, very sorry. What this person has just said is wrong. But the other thing they've also said, which is weird, is that they've got a 39k HP total health, which is just, I'm sitting here with Hydro Resonance. I'm only at 20k. I think this drops to 17 if I take the Hydro Resonance off. But for me to really get to 120 Hydro damage bonus and 39k HP, I mean, the only way to do that would be to use Kazuha's passive and to use my Yelan C4, and to also then build like Xingqiu with at least an HP percentage cup or something. It is incredibly unrealistic. In fact, I can show you how unrealistic it is because I've got an HP, like what do you call it, flower with HP substats. I've made this purposefully, by the way. I've got an 11% HP substat here on my feather. If I now go and I make this HP, let's see, where's an HP one? It should be one of these. Thank you, Barbara. HP, and there should be another HP one here somewhere. There we go, another HP. If I stack HP percentage like crazy, I'm still only at 35k, but what I've done is I've kind of ruined all of my other stats to get there, and no, I'm not at even close to 126%, like whatever, what do you call it, like Hydro damage goblet. So it's just crazy where people keep pulling up these stats, having the audacity to tell me I don't understand. Oh, there's the one. I don't understand Xingqiu. I've never built him. I have built him. I understand his character perfectly well, and I understand that what this person has said is absolute rubbish. So this is only the beginning of the nonsense that this person says. For reference, by the way, if for you to get 39k HP means that you're going to have to go against the best practices here on KQM, which very clearly recommend that you have an attack percentage, Hydro Goblet, or crit rate or crit damage. These are your artifact set priorities. This is the KQM, the Theory Crafting like hub, where they collect lots of evidence for these characters. It's a big project by lots of people. So when these guys give you a recommendation, which is also the exact same build that I've shown in my previous videos, it is really in your best interest to play within the standard rules, because remember, we've put out a video about Xingqiu being dead, and you're telling me I'm wrong. I don't understand how the character works, but everything I've done is within the KQM acceptable realm. I've done nothing that is beyond what is just considered to be best or just normal practice. So when people make these ridiculous stats and numbers, there is a contradiction and things do give in. But what's even more crazy is the other complete pieces of nonsense that's being written here. He says here that the damage resistant at C0 talent level 1 is 60% damage resistance at base. Once again, I'm going to go to KQM. I'm going to look at all of the normal attacks. I'm going to read through all of this. I'm going to read through the skill. I'm going to look at all of these attributes. I'm going to cross-reference this to what I can see in game against all of his talents. And one thing that I am not seeing is I'm not seeing anywhere a 60% resistance at C0 level talent, whatever. So right off the bat, I don't know where you come up with this nonsense, and I think there is a bit of a confusion on this person's part because they're probably conflating damage reduction, which is what Xingqiu gives you, with like elemental resistance, which is an attribute that is here. You can see you can get a hydro resistance, so if enemies hit you with hydro, you can reduce that, or if this is negative, the hydro damage is actually going to increase against your character. The other thing that you have is a total damage reduction, which Xingqiu gives you when you activate his E. It's called here at 29%, and obviously you can convert 20% of Xingqiu's hydro damage bonus up to a maximum of 24%, which means in total, the total amount of damage reduction, not resistance, reduction that you get is capped at 53%. The other thing to note, like KQM notes here as well, is the fact that with Kazuha, I think it's right here, this damage reduction does not take into account the hydro damage bonus gained from Kazuha's A4 passive. This is because if you have one attribute giving you or conferring stats to another attribute, then you don't want to run into like an infinite, like, what do you call it? It's not a regression, but you don't want to run into an infinite loop of one stat upping another stat, which then ups the previous stat, which then ups and whatever. So conferred attributes have a limit. You can see exactly where his damage reduction works. It works with Missplitter's passive. It doesn't work with self-damage. And you also notice some other interesting things here as well. There is an internal cooldown on the rain swords when they're shattered. So when someone says here that you have something of a damage cap and you have to multiply this, and if the swords break you get all of the healing, it's just like when I read through the nonsense that's being written here, I'm just like, dude, there's an entire evidence vault that disproves all of this. For instance, we know that with Xingqiu, if you look at how Xingqiu's rain swords work, you'll notice here that even if you wait for the full, I think, 15-second duration to go past, all of the healing, yes, of these 4 rain swords do stack, but 6% of 20k is just 1.2, so if all 4 of these expire, you get 4.8k, but that in of itself, from a practical perspective, is just nothing compared to me literally just doing this. There we go. 15 seconds on Xingqiu that I've already covered in, look at that, just it's literally an almost like 1 second interval. I'm not exactly 100% sure what the exact interval is, but you can see why wait for all of these rain swords to break to stack all of Xingqiu's healing. And even in combat against someone like Masanori, you're in a situation where you're going to get hit and you're going to have one rain sword break and perhaps 3 seconds later another one, and you only get those minuscule tiny amounts of healing. Yes, you get the damage reduction, but even if this is amazing, even if I'm running, let's say, a Yai Miko and Xingqiu sort of Hyper Bloom team, it can be really good to have that damage reduction, and then you're standing here with Yai and Masanori hits you, you've got interruptions resistance, and you can move, and you can then obviously set up to hit the Hyper Bloom cores, which your Nahida or your other Dendro unit is busy like helping to trigger. It all makes beautiful sense. No one is denying that, but unfortunately, that's not the only way to make life comfy for Yai. You can use someone like Baiju. You can still get healing. You can still get her not being interrupted with the periodic shields. You can use Kirara. You can use Zhongli. There's so many other different options. And with the arrival of Arena, something like Xingqiu's Rainfall and like what do you call it, the little swords that he has can actually ruin her fanfare stack. So let's demonstrate this against someone like Masanori. So what I'm going to do now is show you exactly how this is going to work. So let's go. You're here. Shall we spar? Yep. So right off the bat, I'm just going to do a couple of comparatives. You can see here, healing bonus, absolutely nothing, as we're going to quickly do this with Farina. And you'll see now, healing bonus 19.5. So what's going to happen when Xingqiu gets hit here? Right, so he got hit two times. Okay, so we'll count the 2 times. So now you can see the incoming healing bonus is 36. So let's try and reset these like situations or this condition again, and I'll show you exactly how the Rainfall Swords themselves kind of hinder this entire progress. I'm just going to quickly take care of Masanori here. So bear with me, because I mean we have to do this as a live showcase, because otherwise people are not going to take it as seriously. So whatever to do. Yeah, but I did not plan this little Farina team. Okay, I'm just going to get some more particles. Thank you for the particles. There we go, and we just need Masanori to go away. Right, so now we are set up once again for the next round. So remember the numbers we had earlier. We started at 19, we got to 36k. So what happens now with Xingqiu when he reduces the amount of damage you take? You're going to get less fanfare stacks. And also keep in mind this is a C2 Farina. So most of you are running a C0 Farina. So you're going to get even less fanfare stacks. But right, let's just prove it once again, because if we don't prove it, if we don't show people that we can actually do it, they're not going to take our word as seriously. So once again, I'm going to do this, but now I'm just going to do this. Right, I need you to hit me once, hit me twice, thank you. And now what I can see is, yep, it's 31 instead of 36. So there was clearly a reduction in the amount of fanfare stacks. Now, at my level, with a C6 Farina, this becomes not that much of an issue because you're going to build it so quickly. But at C0, the fact that you have potentially this lag, or you don't have as much, you're not building your fanfare stacks as quickly with someone like Xingqiu in the party, just means that he's not going to be as effective with someone like Farina, and that's why the other characters are just so much better, because that's why you would pair, for instance, more offensive utility in the form of Yelan with Kokomi, and then you put in Farina in the team, and then with little Kazuha, it's just going to be game over so quickly. So yeah, in my opinion, I think whilst there are there is a usefulness for the damage reduction and all of these things, we've got a plethora of characters that provide you shields. We've got other characters like Beta that also provide damage reduction. I think Jean as well, if I'm not mistaken. It's going to be, it's not this one. I think if you get more and more Jean constellation, incoming damage is decreased. There we go. You've got some others as well that can just like take some of the roles and things that he offers, and at the end of the day, you're sitting here and it's like, well, if the best that you can apply is just Hydro, I've got other means of like doing better. So I just don't see what the full utility is that Xingqiu will just be able to offer us. Yes, if you don't have a lot of characters on your account, I can understand why, but like I said, he is being crowded out by not just other Hydra units, but other characters that can offer the same. So yeah, who needs damage reduction when you just literally reduce everything that Masanori does here? It's just, yeah. In any case, I think this video has gone on for way too long, but it's just to once again show you that if people put out random numbers and I don't know what they're talking about, and you want to challenge me to, oh, where's that little piece? If you want to challenge me to prove you wrong, then yeah, it's as easy as that.